We got two stories coming together to make one. Alina Habba has a new bar complaint filed against her bar license in New Jersey because of her actions as a acting interim U.S. attorney in New Jersey to try to turn the state red and go after all Democrats, since she's been appointed to that position by Donald Trump in violation of at least 5 different ethics rules. What will the New Jersey bar do about it, or the Office of Attorney Ethics do about it in New Jersey? Are they going to take it seriously? Are they going to investigate? Or are they going to do what happened in Florida, another place where I'm admitted to the bar, and the Florida bar rejected at the outset a similar ethics complaint filed against Pam Bondi of the Department of Justice? Which is it, New Jersey? Are you going to follow the lead of New York, which just disbarred Ken Chesebro, one of the architects of Donald Trump's steal the election scheme? Or are you going to shrink from this moment in history? And are you going to conclude you don't have jurisdiction? I'm Michael Popok. I have jurisdiction over Legal AF. Let's hit it this morning with this report. Ken Chesebro, you may remember, pled guilty in Georgia to the crime of interfering with elections. He also is the subject of prosecutions in Wisconsin for his role in the fake elector scheme. That was Ken Chesebro's idea, to come up with an alternate slate of electors, have them certify as if they were the real electors, have that alternate slate be brought. He did this with Mike Roman, who was the election day coordinator for Donald Trump, have it delivered to Congress, get it in the hands of Mike Pence, have Mike Pence recognize the alternate electors, and eventually turn it over to the House of Representatives to choose the president. Who else? It would be Donald Trump. Did any of that happen? No, thank God. But these people, along with Sidney Powell, along with Jenna Ellis, along with Rudy Giuliani, all indicted in Georgia, a couple of them, Jenna Ellis, Sidney Powell, Ken Chesebro, pled guilty, even though Donald Trump went free because of the immunity decision. That doesn't mean these people went free. They didn't go free, and they haven't been pardoned either, and they can't be pardoned for state prosecutions. So, adding insult to injury, you got Ken Chesebro, who failed to report to the New York bar, or the Third Judicial Department, who supervises his admission to the bar, that he had been disbarred. There was a full recitation of all the bad facts that were developed by the referee assigned by the 3 judges of the Third Judicial Department to get to the bottom of the facts, and he has now been disbarred. Which brings me, and then he can take an appeal to the Court of Appeals of New York and see if that happens. But New York is no joke, and the New York bar, which I've been a member of since 1992, is no joke. And they take things seriously, like trying to interfere with an election, like trying to come up with legal strategies in order to interfere with the will of the people, like not reporting to your bars that you have been convicted of a crime. They take those things seriously. That's why Rudy Giuliani is no longer a member of the bar, although he was a member of the bar for over 50 years. Which brings us to Alina Habba. What's Alina Habba's crimes? It says that she's violated 6 ethics rules in just the very short amount of time, just several months, that she's been the acting interim U.S. attorney for the District of New Jersey, which covers all of New Jersey. She's nothing more than a political hack. She says out loud that her entire job function is to turn New Jersey red. Okay, I'm a New Jersey, born and raised New Jersey person. I no longer vote there, but I follow the politics there very closely. It has been a blue state for most of my natural born life. It is very blue. It elected Murphy to be the governor twice. Occasionally a moderate Republican wins, but it's generally blue, blue, blue. There's pockets of red, no doubt. I lived in a pocket of red in Monmouth County, but the state overall is blue. And what did she do? Well, let's go through the list. And I'll make it easy on you. Everybody I'm going to mention now are Democrats. She's prosecuting, she indicted and is prosecuting and arrested LaMonica McIver, a representative of the House of Representatives, a member of Congress, because she went down to try to observe a federal immigration detention center. Okay. She criminally investigated, arrested, indicted, and then dismissed the indictment against the mayor of Newark, Mayor Baraka. She announced that she is using her powers to criminally investigate the New Jersey governor Phil Murphy, and Matt Platkin, who's been on Legal AF or on the Midas Touch Network before, the Attorney General for New Jersey, because they're not complying, in her view, with Trump's immigration policies. She's weaponized New Jersey to try to, quote unquote, turn it red. Now, what does this violate? Well, according to the bar grievance, filed with the Office of Ethics, Attorney Ethics in Trenton by Campaign for Accountability, they say, and I agree with them, that she has violated at least 7 different rules of ethics, including Rule 8.4, dishonesty and fraud and misrepresentation in her performance of her attorney duties, threatening criminal investigations or charges in order to get a leverage in a civil case, false statements, and extrajudicial statements made outside the courtroom in order to sully somebody's reputation and curry favor with a jury inside of a courtroom, or to, in other words, tar and feather them in media appearances in order to curry favor with a judge. They then outline page after page what she has done. The investigation of Governor Murphy and Attorney General Platkin, the arrest of Mayor Baraka, who is now suing her for defamation. That one was so bad that a federal magistrate judge looked Alina Habba in the eye and said the following: that the hasty arrest of Newark Mayor Ross Baraka, followed swiftly by the dismissal on trespassing charges a mere 13 days later, suggests a worrisome misstep by your office. An arrest, particularly of a public figure, is not a preliminary investigation tool. The apparent rush in this case, culminating today in the embarrassing retraction of the charges, suggests a failure to adequately investigate, to carefully gather facts, and to thoughtfully consider the implications of your actions. Your office must operate with a higher standard than that. She then files charges against Congressman or Congresswoman McIver and goes through all of the rules. Every lawyer is subject to the rules of professional responsibility and professional conduct. It's modeled after the ABA, the American Bar Association rules. You're taught it in law school. You're required to take a test on it. You swear an allegiance and an oath to uphold it along with the Constitution, or you shouldn't be a lawyer. Now, some states like Florida have backed out and said, well, we have a policy that if a person is in the federal government, we're not going to regulate their bar license. Why not? They can't hold those jobs without a bar license. They can't appear in court and conduct business for the United States of America without a bar license. Why does it, the fact that they crossed over and became Donald Trump's personal Department of Justice, why does that mean that their bar license is no longer at risk? What, their bar license is in a state of suspended animation for the time that they're in office? They're lawyers. That's how they're the head of the Department of Justice. That's how they are head prosecutors. I get they don't have to be lawyers, but they are lawyers. And when I say they don't have to be lawyers, you can put a non-lawyer as a prosecutor. You can put a non-lawyer as a judge. There's no requirement in the Constitution or in the rules of professional conduct that a person in those positions of power be lawyers. But if they are lawyers, they are in the profession, which is self-policing. So Florida punted grievously by saying Pam Bondi they wouldn't open an investigation about her. I'm not so sure on New Jersey. I took a quick look. I don't think they have a similar barrier to going after federal officials who also are licensed members of the bar. If they want to give up their bar license, then there's no jurisdiction for the bar to investigate. But Alina Habba still has her bar license. And that's the point. She's trading and using her bar license. Turn it in today, Alina, if you don't want to be regulated by the New Jersey bar or ultimately by the New York bar. I think New Jersey follows suit with what New York just did in disbarring Rudy Giuliani and now disbarring Ken Chesebro. And they find it's going to be so easy to find that she has violated these half a dozen ethics rules. She has. She is supposed to be guided by the Department of Justice manual. She doesn't even know what the Department of Justice manual is. I'm sure she's never read it. She never practiced in federal court. See, the world divides for litigators like me. You either practice in state court exclusively, federal court exclusively, or you do like I do, like a hybrid. And so you're comfortable in the rules of both courts, and they are different. And I'm not even talking about the dividing world in lawyers and trial lawyers as criminal lawyers, criminal defense lawyers, or litigators, civil litigators. That happens too. I've done both there as well. I don't think she ever tried a federal case. until she got with Donald Trump. And if she did, it was a small employment-related case. She has a tiny little office, or had one, in New Jersey, in Bedminster, right near the golf course. She was representing parking lots before she met Donald Trump. I'm just saying what she did. So she never had a federal practice. So she doesn't, and even if you had a federal practice, you don't know the Department of Justice manual unless you're on the criminal defense side and you know it cover to cover. So she doesn't know what are the requirements of being a prosecutor. She was never a prosecutor. She doesn't care about what are the ethical implications of being a prosecutor. And she's violating her oath as an officer of the court. And I think New Jersey should move forward with this, accept the grievance, move forward with it, open up a file, open up an investigation, make her answer for it, literally make her submit an answer for it, and move forward. I'll continue to follow it all right here on Legal AF and on the Midas Touch Network. Take a moment, hit the subscribe button, do it all again. Till my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.